Okay, I think we're all set. Let me clean my glasses real quick just before we go in. There we go. Alrighty, let's check this time. Do I have audio? I have mic audio. Good. Elgato seems to also be working. Can you guys hear everything good? Does the balance sound about right? We're gonna start with our swing in a miss. Alrighty, what's going on? Howdy, Xavier. I'm gonna somewhere for a family reunion, so unless I find a way to play Elden Ring, I'll probably have less fun facts to yell at you for about a week. That's fine, Xavier. Have fun with family, okay? Real life always comes first. I drew Aldrich and Rosaria. Oh no. Oh no, Nardi. Oh no. Would it be odd for me to ask if it's wholesome? Is there any hope? God, this is all shit. I hate it. I hate it. I think we need to go to choir. I think it's what we need to do. Let's do that. Here? Yargle Chapel, sure. Stickers, stickers, stickers. Yeah, Joe. Today's been sticker day on the Discord server, hasn't it? I'm glad we can, I'm glad I'm finally, adding stickers for you all, because there's a lot of, we can actually get a lot more than I thought we initially could for free, so that's cool. Hello. More chunks! Chunky boy. What did I just say? We want to go to choir, so alright, let's get out of here. I forget, chat. How does this work? There's some way to get that. Ah, I think I found it. There. Ow. There we go. There we go. Again, how great would it be if we had Demon Souls vaulting, so you didn't have to put these broken ledge shits here? And don't mind me, just thinking out loud. Hey, buddy. That's always satisfying, chat. Always satisfying. Draw Roddy, give me the middle finger. So I can't check now, obviously, but apparently the wiki says that the miners in Yellow Annex Tunnel are the only ones to drop Smithing Stone 6, which is a gold one. Which would be very interesting in itself. Might be hinting that they all come from the plateau and were transferred to the new place. Also, that part of the tunnel is relatively close to the plateau, so it could just be an effect of them finding a few bits of golden smithing stone among everything else due to the area. That's always possible. Of course you miss it. Oh. Always stick to the left with this guy, chat. That's something I've learned. Oh, you're not here. Ah, there you are. Oh no! She doesn't... She didn't die instantly. Ow. Okay, okay, okay. God, these enemies are tanky, Chad. This kind of makes me nervous for the future. Nervous that Luke won't be able to keep up with this, with his current gem setup. Which is fine, it just means we have to probably go through Chalice dungeons, which I don't like. I guess we could always go for Cum dungeon. That's another option. Thank you. Demon Souls vaulty, so like 2 vaults in the entire game. No, we can make it work. I'm proud I noticed that Smithing Stone 9 had a unique model. As you should. If you don't tell me what a character you want for an emote, I'm drawing Ronnie giving the middle finger. Gotcha. Well, John has given his request. Draw Ronnie doing the middle finger. Oh boy. Right, there's nothing here for us to... Let's just get the shortcut then and get out of here. Oh, you didn't react. Giant hammer bounces off wall. I find that funny. Am I crazy, chat? I could have swore there was an exit here. Yeah, we're not crazy. Okay, yeah. Not clipping. We're not doing chip damage anymore. Oh. Got our chunks like I wanted. Ow. Holy hell, you are tanky. Everything is so tanky. We need gems, I think. There we go. Another chunk. Could be a sweet dream or a beautiful nightmare. I'll be honest, I'm really happy that Hunter's Nightmare is out. I think that one's a really good one. I'm really proud of that one and how it turned out. It was a lot longer than I was expecting, but I think it was worth it. Now I can focus on maybe doing some like Is and Great One stuff. Those will be relatively shorter. But really I need to return to Dark Souls 3 and actually get the Arendelle or Ring City or whatever done. The difficulty spikes after ROM. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I haven't done Chalice Dungeons this time, so I'm really feeling it. That's too far. Alright, so out of curiosity, how simple would it be to beat the One Reborn? We don't need shots like we did last time, so... Wait, where's the way up? Do they hide the path up from here? No, no, I think it's only on the far end then. Okay, we'll just do this then. You know how this goes. How dare you? Oh. Alright, Luke, you can do it. Oh. Luke, you're failing me. There we go. That's one. That's two. Oh my god. Chip damage. I can outdo it. Thanks for the bullets. Don't need to charge it. Up. Or not? Game, could you make up your mind? Yeah. Game, can you please make up your mind? Whatever, they're all dead. Oh, now we can go down and kill it. What? Iframes? Hello? Oh, I'm not locked onto the... Hey, you're gonna be like that. Damn it. We're not doing anywhere near the damage I'd like. I also can't target the head, which is kind of obnoxious. Especially when he's just dumping shit on me. Oh my god. Damn. Oh my god. Done. Oh my god. It's kind of funny what bosses I find more annoying doing strength build. There we go. So close. You almost had it. Whoop. Ow. Forget about the guy who did Godric. The guy who did this thing deserves a raise. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh. Oh, I guess we're on the other side. Can you stop raging for 5 seconds? Oh. Just let me get one good hit on you. There we go. There we go. One reborn slain. That's fine, we can go now. Then we can go to choir, pick up the choir badge, so I can get those blue elixirs I want. Blue elixirs? I love Morrowind. Morrowind, Elder Scrolls, wonderful. I died to a couple rats in Mormon. Gotta love Mormon. All right.
Welcome. What? Very well.
Uh-huh. I think this is worth it. I forget when the soft cap hits for vitality. You're almost there. Moving. I have here. What is this place? It feels like a nightmare. It is a nightmare, Adolphus. What are you doing here? Turn back. Save yourself. I want to go back to Cathedral War now. Vitality, soft cap is 50. Gotcha. Okay. So we have quite a bit to go. I'm kind of curious. Is it still worth it going to strength at this juncture? Or should I really just... Because I'm trying to choose. Do I go into strength or do I go into stamina? Because I feel like if I get just a little more stamina, I might have a little bit more room to work with. I don't know. Oh. Of course you had your shots prepared like that. Just shoot through walls, Smile. Also, wait a second, I'm going the wrong... Wait, no, I'm going the right way. Like, wait a second. Strength soft cap is 50, stamina soft cap is 40. No, I get the soft cap, Bolt Toy. No, Pastor, sorry. For once, I'm the one who's saying, hello, iframes on me? Shouldn't I have gotten hit by that? But whatever. I'm saying if it's worth going past the soft cap for strength. Like, if I had to choose between stamina and strength, should I choose strength? I don't know, honestly. I don't know why the smithing stone models in Yellow Anise Tunnel look somber, despite the fact only 2-3 give you somber ones. Maybe because it's ice, Xavier. It's the only tunnel that's in the mountaintops or snowfield, right? So it could just be like, oh, it's snow covered or ice covered, and it's not actually quote unquote somber. Oh, I'd say choose strength. Gotcha. So once we hit the cap on, or close to the cap, I think, with vitality, so we can survive Orphan. Oh god. Yeah. Oh, of course that doesn't have iframes. Oh boy, I can't wait for my blunt weapon to not work on these boys. Alright, Luke. Oh boy. Luke with one good hit still doesn't get him. That's a yikes. Ah, darn. That was the best I could come up with as well. The best guess I could come up with as well, because you said the 7 and 8 ones are turning into glass, right? Yes. That's the idea. They're when it says I forget what the English word is, but it basically means like they're the Japanese basically use the term that literally means like to transform into glass. So yeah, the idea is that they're already half glass. Now, I'm not entirely sure if there's any significance to the glass idea, if the glass is just being metaphorical, like it's not that they're literally half glass, but that they're becoming glass-like, if they're, or what. Again, I'm not too familiar with the nature of glass to know if there's anything we could say about, like, snow or mountaintops or stuff that could be involved with any of that. Oh. There we go. That's one down. Oh, look, and a blue elixir. Thank you. Choir! Can you please get over here? Hey, choir! Move it! Thank you. Ah, darn. Ow. Yeah, that's another problem. Stamina would be nice just so I can dodge after I get my attacks off. Oh. The fourth one came. God, these charge attacks. Also, why the frick are you aggroed? My hammer's just too loud, Jet. Oh. He'll give up. Yep. It's like, well, I guess he's never gonna leave that pillar. Ah. Just be a good boy. Yeah. Oh! I'm dead. Well, there goes all my insight. This is a terrible place to try to save up on insight loss. Up. Nope. Here we go again. God, I hate this enemy so much. Just remember, chat, whenever you hear someone say the most obnoxious Souls enemy they've ever faced, just remember these things exist. And somehow something else beat them. Oh. There we go, we got it! Don't even need to finish the area. Woo. No! No! Woo! 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 Damn it, it's locked. Ah, this is hell, chat. Of course. Again, don't you love enemies which have so much poise despite the fact they're supposed to be squishy? Gosh, I hate this enemy so much. Alright. We get out of here. We got what I wanted. If you have a touch, you can L2 stunlock brain suckers to death. That's good to know. The great ones love a scholar touch. Ah, 1 second, the dog's knocking. There we go. Excuse me. How's the prayer going, boys? What do the miners drop? Gravel? I think those aren't the kind of miners we should be talking about, Xavier. Why do the miners drop gravelstone? There's the smithing stone 9 and a corpse that has an ancient dragon smithing stone as well. That's a good question. Why is there signs of dragons deep in the earth there? Especially considering the 9's the only spot that it has it. Now, it's a meteor. Now, the mine is established because of the meteor strike, which brought Estelle, right? That's why Estelle's in the boss room. But there are signs of dragons there. But the only thing that's present are the Dragonkin soldiers. But I don't think there's anything with Dragonkin soldiers that involves gravelstone, right? Like, there's no, like, oh, they drop a bunch of gravelstone, or there's lots of gravelstone in the area where Dragonkin soldiers are, right? Am I wrong there? Hey, I am. We have a late night nap, lol. Oh, was having a late night nap. The great ones love a scholar's touch. There we go. Yeah. Goodness me. Well, I'm gonna spend this on, because I have not spent a lot of stuff on my blood vials. Let's do that. There we go. And let's go online and do Come Dungeon. When you drop a piano down a mine shaft, you get a flat minor. That's funny. All right. Yeah, the Gravelstone item itself says it's found in areas where there was once ancient dragons. Oh, I need to get to Come Dungeon first, right? So wait, can I? Yeah, I can't do my search yet. Oh, I'm in offline mode? What? Say what? I could have swore we just got online. Why aren't you letting me online, game? Let's see. What's the problem? Alright. Load. You are currently off. Oh, you know what? I bet you I set myself to be automatically offline, didn't I? Network. Nope. I'm just offline. Huh? Huh? 1 second, chat. I gotta... Go ahead, turn this off for a second. Something's wrong. Can't load. Oh, something's wrong with the network. That's why. Let's see if we can fix that. Internet connection failed. What? Alright, we're gonna test things right now. What are you grinding this time around? We're grinding for levels so that way I can get up my vitality and then my strength. That way we can go fight Orphan. Generally, honestly, just beat the Hunter's Nightmare, because we gotta get that Orphan cutscene. Plus, I want the post cutscene. And oh hell, do I not have trust that Lucurious can do New Game Plus Orphan after all the trouble regular game Orphan gave us. Yeah, the Gravelstone item itself says it's found in areas where there was once ancient dragons. Uh-huh. So theoretically, it should signify the presence of ancient dragons, specifically in the Yellow Annie's tunnels. It looks like everything's working. Everything's successful. May have just had some weird hiccup with the internet last time there was a power surge or something. Yep, okay, test is complete. Everything's good. Everything's connected. Let's sign in. Signed in, it says. Okay. All right, let's try it one more time, chat. All right, looks like it worked. I think that's a good sign. Yeah, Bloodborne server. I don't know why I keep selling Miner as Miner. I don't know, Xavier. I don't know, maybe you got caught by the Mikola disease. You just really love Mikola. He just sent you a bewitching branch and you were never the same. Let's see. Search, Chalice Dungeon search. Okay, I forget. How do you search for, How do we do this? Well, how's it spelled, chat? I think it's like come... or something like that. Dungeon Bloodborne. Okay, so it's 3 M's and then FPK. Gotcha. It's here, chat. What is the Mikola disease and why do like miners? I think it's multiple M's. Thank you. That has been a terrible bit, sir. Sorry, Xavier. I couldn't help myself. Why am I even bothering? We all know we're not. Alright, let's go. God, this is so stupid. Well, everyone, this is gonna be the stream for the next hour and a half. So, hope you all strap in and have lots of questions to pass the time. Also, now that I've got the thing I wanted, I'm sorry, doll. I lost like 4 insight. I'm a terrible person, I know.
Welcome.
Last time I have to see you, though.
Very well.
We want to go 40. Yep. Do we have time to check out the boss chalice dungeon? No, I want to do a dedicated stream just for that, Xavier. I want to do something special for that. I also need to get back to the Dark Souls lore play, so that's another... Again, I'm trying to look for a good date now where, 1, I'm healthy, 2, I have a schedule available for like 4 to 5 hours. And then, and yeah, just, I have to also find some extra time to, like, refresh my memory on some of the stuff, because we have to go back to, like, Seath and things like that, and then beat Seath, try to get his tail weapon. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. And then beat Gwendolyn. So yeah, there's a lot of good things we want to... Because Abyssal Archive is now out. It's getting into people's hands. I think it's about time we return to the lore play and finish it up. Thank you. Alright, keep going. Whew. Yeah, this has been such a productive Elden Ring week, chat. Now I'm reflecting back on it. It's like we've done like, what, like 4 or 5 Elden Ring streams this past week? And they were pretty much all like incredibly useful and informative. Like there was a lot of stuff learned. Much of that's thanks to Xavier here, giving us so much detail and doing a lot of good prep work. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with how everything's been turning out. I even was able to still get my Hunter's Nightmare analysis done this week, which, woo! I was worried we might have had some trouble here. Now, chat, this may look like I'm exploiting the game, but listen, hear me out. I would just be doing this anyway, but in areas much, much, much slower and with more opportunity for error. So really, I'm just saving you all time. Speaking of time, I know there's a lot of people who say how Placky is dead. I've obviously haven't done the boss fight yet. So I'm just gonna kind of ask casually here. What's the evidence that Placky is actually dead? And he isn't just, you know, like in the tornadoes we see. And we get drawn into the tornado or something. Because it just says he sits there between time, and obviously when you kill him, you get his remembrance. So it makes me doubt that he's actually dead. So I'm kind of just curious what the reasoning is. Oh. No. Also stay hydrated, chat. The last flower stuff I was checking before I left was bundles of white and light blue flowers, trying to figure out if there's a pattern to them. What are the areas you found them in so far? I'll see if there's anything that strikes me. There we go. The Placky-S dragons in the mountains is about all I can think of. I am maybe Placky's having a party. Well, yeah, because the thing is that, again, if you're from a Japanese perspective, tornado means a winding dragon. So the idea that Placky is inside the tornado is not that bizarre from just a pure, you know, Miyazaki. If you were in Miyazaki's shoes and you were trying to look at the story that Miyazaki's trying to convey to you, the idea that Placky is just in the tornado, maybe the cause of the tornado, and tornadoes, I guess, wind or something has some relation to time, I suppose, or whatever. That makes a lot more sense to me than just, oh, he's dead, and we go back in time inside the tornado to do so, right? And I get what I've heard the reasoning is, oh, we can see stuff kind of go back in order to form the battleground we fight him on or whatever. But that can just work as easily as that he's alive and he's reversing the time of Farum Azula that's been destroyed for the sake of our battle or whatever, for whatever reason. So that's kind of what's going through my head. Now again, much like other things where I've talked about this stuff, I haven't actually played those parts of the game yet, so I could be missing something. But that's kind of what's like going through my brain right now, of like what I know is coming and what I've seen so far leading up to it. We're already almost at 50, and then we can start doing strength. Another thing that we're going to have to work on is trying to figure out with Placky's god, her death, and the Erdtree and stuff. The problem is there's so much history for the lands between that I think Godfrey, Radigan, and stuff I think I need to cover first. So I can get those factors out of the way, and we can kind of focus on, okay, what's still, like, a mystery? What's the area of stuff that we still need to start, theory crafting on? Okay, so let's see. Well, it is doing extra damage, so that's good. The forest around the four belfries, the fourth church of America, the mausoleum by that church, and the ruined labyrinth with the dynasty ruins in Liurnia. Uh-huh. Is where I have found them so far. Yeah, that's not a lot of obvious connections there, is it? Again, that could just be generic flowers. They're there for variety's sake, right? But we have seen enough colored flower combinations that have shown lore significance. So it's worth looking into all the same. Also, my phone is going off, so I guess I'll go grab and check it when we next load back to this area. Yes, continue doing damage. Even if it's only 1 point, every point counts. Alright, 1 sec. It was nothing important, chat. Though I did discover that my charger, I was using the wrong cord for my charger. Whoops, I don't even know how I made that basic mistake. Well, granted, the 2 cords. The ends both plugged in, so I understand that part. There we go. There we go. Godric and Godefroy is also now on my list of characters that I really want to cover. And I'm starting to get really into Radigan as I look at like all the stuff I'm like, okay, this is Godfrey, this is Godfrey, this is not Godfrey, etc. Right? So I'm like, oh, Radigan's getting more and more interesting in terms of looking at what's happening during his era. Finger Creepers are getting more interesting now that we're looking through. Nardi brought up a very good thing with the mountain tops and stuff, and it's kind of got my brain going there, so I'm going in Rykard's direction. Like, there's just everything, chat. Elden Ring is consuming me. Loki, stop cheating and using unofficial dungeons, literally and figuratively. No. I refuse, I refuse! We will do the fast farm. We're gonna beef up Luke real quick. The Wandering Mausoleum having a big, weird patch around it is why I became suspicious, though. I could just be looking for a connection that doesn't exist. Again, that's why we're doing the check, right? You have a hypothesis. You're trying to test the hypothesis. And we'll see what comes of it. If we find that there's nothing, then, well, it's good that we confirm that there was nothing. That's still useful information to know, right? At least we could say, okay, that's firmly not involved. Because if this was like, say, Dark Souls 3 and stuff, I wouldn't care that much, right? Because it's a much more contained game, and generally speaking, the flowers aren't that important. Like, there'll be flowers maybe to each area. Maybe there'll be some overlap with flowers where they're being used meaningfully, but usually the rest of the context makes things obvious enough. In Elden Ring, especially with the open world, there is so much there, and the data we can be working with can be so sparse or scant that it's having this stuff being able to know, okay, this is important, this is not, is useful. Just hands down. If this isn't cheating, then soul duping in DS1 is legal. I never said it's not. Dupe away. So currently, I've been thinking about the idea of Godefroy being the firstborn child of Merika and Godfrey. Now, there's a few questions that still linger. Was Godefroy like Godric, where he was always weak and pathetic? Or was this just a result of him getting old? And because he's old man firstborn, he just isn't as impressive as he used to be, and so he relied on grafting. One thing that makes me suspicious is the fact that it could explain why O'Neill's leg was, aside from being an offering, just a generic offering to be like, look, see, I'm actually, like, you know, disabling myself or whatever and giving you a share of my power that you could use however you see fit. I wonder if Godfrey could have seen that as a way, like, grafting, because, again, grafting has that inherent tree connection. I wonder if grafting was sort of, began with Godefroy because he was so inherently weak as a child or whatever. And so to make him stronger, they were willing to give him the power of others. I'm kind of curious if that's the case, because it's never really clarified under what exact circumstances that he decides that he's going to become, you know, Godefroy the Grafted. Unlike Godric, which we know what happened to Godric. He got his ass whooped against Morgott, retreated like a little bitch, abandoning Radon, and then decided he was gonna beef himself up with grafting everybody. The woods around the belfries have the headless trolls like the men around the fourth church. Yeah, I think also looking at the style of the belfries, it looks very similar to stuff in Liurnia and the Academy. I don't know if any of those models are exact, but there's definitely a similar style going there. And the fact that they're using trolls that are enchanted knights leads me to think that it's created by the Liurnians for the Liurnians. It's not this ancient thing. Now the question is, why those areas? And I can think of several reasons. One, Merika and Radigan's research into Order has them using Liurnia in order to, and like as far as Radigan's time mastering sorcery and stuff, he ends up going, he wants quick access to the Ancient Dynasty, / Nox, the Farum Azula, and, well, what's the last one? Oh yeah, the Stormvale Chapel and stuff. Hence why it's on the west side near the Castle Manor of Caria. Yeah. So Godwin would be the favorite little son. Yes, Baltoy, that would be the idea, right? So Godefroy was the firstborn son. He was Godefroy the Golden, right? And this goes into my other idea of, I think Golden, the reason why we see Godric use it was because Godefroy used it, and the reason Godefroy used it is because I think everyone who is a child of Godric and Merika, at least after, especially after Godfrey left, started using the title of Golden to distinguish themselves from, say, Merika's stepchildren, who were brought into the Golden Clan, but they aren't true clansmen, right? They're not the blood descendants of Godfrey and Merika. It's just Radigan and Renala's children, right? And same thing with, say, Mikola and Melania, right? Like, oh, it's Radigan and Merika's, there's no Godfrey there, right? So I think the Golden was used to help distinguish them, so it would be like, theoretically, if Melina wasn't killed before this point, it would probably be like, oh, it's Melina the Golden. Or, yeah, all that. So I'm thinking Golden was just a generic title being used to help distinguish your relation to Godfrey. Hence why such a big deal is made about it by Godric, and why, of course, Godwin has it. I think the idea is that Godwin more embodied the golden image over Godefroy, especially after the events of the Ancient Dragon War, right? I think there was little brother envy there. He's like, I'm the firstborn, and yet he's the golden boy of the family, right? And then you have to add to that, Godefroy gets sent off and assigned to Stormvale after Godfrey leaves, right? So Godfrey is no longer Lord of Stormvale, and so an outsider, Godefroy, is sent in to replace him, right? And so now he's the new master of Stormvale, right? And it's an impressive castle, but it's essentially being told, hey, we're sending you out to the boonies, right? You're going out to the frontier, to the middle of nowhere, right? And you're gonna go be master of the castle there, far from the, you know, the opulent capital where everyone and everything is, right? So I think that was added insult to injury to Godefroy, right? Just the way we're thinking of the character who ultimately ends up rebelling during the first defense of Langdell, right? Also, as I pointed out, it's very likely that he was recruited into the conspiracy, Ronnie's conspiracy, along with Rykard, because, as we see, there's an assassinated demigod every which place, except Mount Gelmir, Caelid, and Limgrave. Those 3 places. So we have one in Weeping Peninsula, probably from Castle Morn, right? We have one in Mountaintops and Snowfield. Again, you have the Apostate Derelict and Castle Sol. You'll, of course, have Liurnia. There's probably several demigods attending the academy or something, right? So you got several in Liurnia. And all those areas where they're not happening has a conspirator in them. Rykard, Godefroy, and Caelid is where the Celia is, and Celia has the Black Knife Assassins, right? So all of this to kind of distance the people in there from being suspected of being involved in the assassinations, right? You don't assassinate near where they could find you, right? Because then it becomes too obvious. The only exception is Ronnie, because, well, Ronnie ends up becoming one of the quote-unquote victims of the assassination, right? So it's like, oh no, she was assassinated. There's no way she could be a part of this terrible conspiracy, right? So therefore, she has cover. So, of course, it's okay to assassinate people in Liurnia then, right? So with that in mind, we have the idea of, okay, so he's involved with the conspiracy from this point of Godwin, and you can kind of see the connection. Okay, he's involved with the whole Godwin assassination thing. Obviously, there's the idea of, hey, my little brother upstaged me, so I'm totally with you on this whole getting rid of him thing, along with, like, say, other brothers and sisters or whatever who could also cause me similar trouble. So all of that makes sense so far. Then you have, of course, Marika breaking the Elden Ring and the Shattering. Godefroy takes a great rune, much like other children of Marika. They all sort of grab their own runes in order to sort of, you know, like, it's a power grab essentially, and each gets their shard, and they're all like in a Mexican standoff, and Morgoth's mediating and creates this council of allies, and Godefroy's on it, right? But eventually he breaks it, and this is all sort of seemingly the idea that probably he was pushed into doing it as part of the conspiracy, and of course it epically fails, even with the grafting and all that. He gets captured and imprisoned, and then Morgoth goes to Stormvale, and that's where Morgoth plants his projection magic thing on probably one of the conscripted soldiers at Stormvale, hence why he can appear to us as Margit, right? So he goes all the way over there. He clears it out, right? And we get it. The 2 banished knights who used to serve the Stormlord and then get left behind serving at the Kingless Castle, after, obviously, the Stormhawk King is killed. Then Godfrey, of course, leaves. And then finally, Godefroy is now captured and gone, right? So the castle has no proper king, but King Morgoth's here, just kind of saying, like, hey, I gotta deal with all these traitors who were in league with Godefroy and all this, and this conspiracy and all that shit, so let's try to root them all out here. You know, he's trying to purge and clean things up, because, obviously, when you have one of the members of your alliance essentially collapse your alliance by betraying it and everyone, and there's signs that it's part of a larger conspiracy or whatever, you're going to try to root that all out, right? And in doing so, we get the whole idea of, okay, the Banished Knight who defeated like 100 traitors, and then Murkwater. It also explains Murkwater Catacombs, because Murkwater Catacombs has been a little bit of an odd thing, and like, why is it located there in the middle of the river? But now it kind of makes sense, because now you have all these people who are traitors, and so Morgoth gives them a very, it's an Erdtree burial, but it's kind of a shitty Erdtree burial, right? It's in, well, a dirty river. So there's very much an obvious of, like, I'm not treating you with the same respect I would treat anyone else, you filthy traitors. And then, of course, I think that's also where the person who hunted the traitors was also buried, if I recall correctly. That's where we get his ashes. So, yeah, all works out that way. Oh, wait, I didn't spend him yet. Oopsie. And then, after Morgott roots out the traitors and stuff, yes, he's back in Lingdell, with his new alliance, having now sort of replaced Godefroy in the alliance with Godric. Seemingly, he seems to have picked Godric, who's, again, most likely, like, I don't know, like some great-grandson, or, you know, something that would make him a distant relative to Godfrey, but probably still closely enough related to Godefroy and his family line, or whatever, right? So, the idea is that, okay, I'm going to pick someone who's related to Godefroy, so Godefroy and his house are okay with, like, it'll pacify them, so it's not like I'm totally shutting them out, because again, Morgott's playing a very dangerous game here, trying to mediate between all these parties that are obviously all, like, gunning for each other's throats, but she's like, no, let's calm down, we can do this like peaceful people and kind of select this, like, civilized people, right? We don't need to get violent. Probably for the best. I don't know if I would have got more than one level up out of that. Anyway. But then, one of his problems, though, is that he picked Godric, who proves to be, have a similar life experience to Godefroy. You know, weak, probably sickly, an old man at this point, white-haired, you know, wrinkly, you know, ugly, just a very pathetic individual, but he's got big ambitions, and much like Godefroy, again, you have to go back to who's on this alliance. It's all basically, Marika's stepchildren from Radigan and Renala, or Radigan's and Marika's two twins who are deformed and pathetic, right? So much like Godefroy, Godric's like, well, I'm obviously the most legitimate successor, right? I come straight from Godfrey's line. Like, I'm the only one here who has any real claim to the throne, right? Now, as we know, Godric has a connection to Godefroy. We don't know if that means he was, like, recruited into the conspiracy by Ronnie and Rykard or whatever, right? Like his relative. I could definitely see that happening, though. Or at the very least, that there may be some, like, the Godric may have, like, kept his connections or ties or whatever. He may have just been in league with Godefroy, and he was you know, pretending, essentially, that he was all okay. And then, ultimately, as we know, he teams up with Radon, and they do they launch a second assault on Lingdell, which forces Morgott, which ultimately completely destroys, it starts the Shattering. By this point, the Shattering's in full swing, right? No one in the Alliance is taking part. Everyone's doing their own thing for their own purposes. Morgott more or less has declared everyone's a traitor and all that, and they are not interested in actually supporting the Erd Tree. And he has to basically go out in the field as quote-unquote Margit to try to stop it, and then that's where, of course, Godric flees like a little bitch. The only question for me is that because Godric is seemingly in the capital at the time, why he wasn't captured and killed. Now, it's possible that Godric was able, because of the nature of the attack and how it was going, that people didn't realize that it was Godric's quote-unquote forces at first, and Godric used that opportunity to take treasures from the capital and leave. Maybe he was planning to, like, lead the troops from behind or something like that, but then he had to end up fleeing totally because, well, Morgott. That's a little detail that I need to sort through more. But anyway, that's my general thoughts on how it is with these characters so far. The only place I've seen skull decorations is the Belfry and Elphael in the Halig Tree. A lot of conspiracy stuff. Yeah. There's only one conspiracy, but there's a big one. Yeah. Because for those that don't know, the Japanese name for the Knight of the Black Knives is the Knight of the Black Knives conspiracy, right? I think sometimes the localization will refer to it as the plot, which again is another fine translation or whatever. I don't recall if conspiracy is used anywhere. But yeah, the general idea is that, oh, okay, there's this big conspiracy going on, right? And that's what's referenced in the first defense of Lingdell, right? They call it, what is it, the Sovereign Alliance? It's not sovereign. The term Shard Bearer more literally means like Shard Ruler. I guess you could translate as sovereign as well. That would work, right? But yeah, it means like a lord, a ruler, you know, someone who's like the master in control of something. In this case, a shard of the Elden Ring, right? The Great Rune. And that's the term that means like, okay, so there was an alliance of all these people, as we see with Morgott with all the chairs assembled and things like that. And it collapsed from within, quote unquote, because again, God of War was part of this this alliance, and then as a result of everything that happened, they seem to have discovered that there are traces of a conspiracy. Yeah, the only problem I have with the sword monuments is when they like tell you, oh, this is the first defensive Langdell, and this is the second defensive Langdell, which is super weird because you imagine these monuments are going up at the time of the events in question, so like. It's like, ah, yes, the first Leonian War. Like, wow, that's going to be really weird if there's no second Leonian War. Like, imagine if you go to the Siege of Morn. It's like, oh, the first Siege of Morn. It's like, wait, where's the second? Don't answer that. That's rhetorical. Here's a tangent. I guess 2 of the OG Mass Effect people are working on a sci-fi game in a smaller company. Oh, that's cool. I hope it's good. I vote for all the old OG BioWare people, because BioWare has basically been, like... It's been parasitized from the inside out. It's no longer the company it used to be, which is why I have no faith in their Dragon Age games anymore. Is this the Elden Ring recap of the week? Yeah, basically I am. We need something to pass this time. At some point we have to check to see what my damage numbers are like. Probably not crazy, but I'm kind of curious. We're really fighting World War I right now, sir. Yeah, there's gonna be a second World War, just you watch. And don't worry, it's gonna be a third one right after that. Yeah, it's just one of those really weird things about the monuments where you're like, as soon as I realized that, I'm like, wait a second. Wait a moment. Who's putting these up again? Is it an oracle? Is it a seer? The real reason why Marika was able to head off Radigan is because she read the monument. And she's like, wait a second, these bastards are gonna come and invade us again. There's gonna be a second war. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, that thing mentioning the headless people was an attempt to trying to make the connection with the flowers I mentioned. So you think there could be a connection with the mausoleums there. So you have the fourth church, the mausoleum area, the belfries. But the problem is the rune labyrinth with the dynasty runes. The only thing I can think of is how that labyrinth is directly connected to the mausoleum compound. So I assume, Xavier, your next thing to check is going to have to be, probably Deep-Root Depths. There's none in Mountaintop. Wait, no, yeah, there is one in Mountaintops. Mountaintops and Snowfield. Yeah, so those are the last 3 areas you'd have to check for those flowers, right? And see if there's anywhere near or around that mausoleum. Maybe a dancing crystal lizard who put these monuments. Oh, I can see it now. It just fucking doing the pose right in front of the monument, be like, I am inscribing all of the words from the future. That would be grand. Only 1 level up now, chat. It's getting a little small. Yeah, so God of War's character makes sense in this scenario that I've just mentioned, right? It really kind of makes me want to write all this out now. But the one thing that I have to look into, of course, is when exactly he's born. Because if he's the firstborn, we need to be able to pinpoint that for this theory to really work. Because Godwin doesn't have to be the firstborn. His story works regardless of whether or not he is, right? He just needs to be the golden boy, right? He needs to be America's favorite kid, essentially, right? Like, sure, she loses a lot of kids, but Godwin, more than anyone, sort of represents the destruction of the Order, right? And God of War's participation in the conspiracy makes perfect sense in light of him having a vendetta against his little bro for being so much better than him. Which, let's be honest, that's a very Martin, type of character. There we go. I'm just gonna wait until we get like a million blood points, a million blood echoes chat, and then we'll go to the doll. There's a crystal lizard conspiracy, and we have to solve it. Unsolve it. That might be a while until I can check, unless they have a PS5 where I'm going. I mean, it's possible I can do it myself, Xavier. There's no problem with me doing it, obviously, for any one of my streams. It's just a matter of me, well, doing that for the stream. So, like, again, feel free to live vicariously through me during the time you're away by just asking me or telling me places you'd like me to check for those casual Elden Ring streams. Because I think I'm going to do some more. Like I said, I think my focus is going to be doing Elden Ring stuff on the side while I work through my Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne analyses. We're going to try to push out Great Ones and because I've already written a lot of that for Smotown. Great Ones is going to be weird because I don't know if it's going to be like an article long term. It could be one of those things where I work on it and then like I give up on it later down the line. But we'll see. I also want to give data to Smotown for his Thumerian stuff. But that's going to be a lot more work than some of the other stuff I've done for him. Because there's just so much stuff between Loran, Thumeru. I've already given him the Is stuff, so that's fine. But like, there's all the other stuff. And I haven't done a deep dive analysis on either of those. So it's not a topic I am like a master... I have a masterful grasp on. So it's like, whatever. Whatever. I think the light blue flower is the same shade as the ones found in the Snowfield Church and the Jellyfish Girl graves. But they're mixed with the white flowers, you said, right? So it's not exactly the same setup. Although, there is a mausoleum at the Apostate Derelict, so you never know. There we go. I think light blue... Okay, unsure of the importance of that fact, though, yeah. There are jellyfish at both areas with just the blue flowers, though. So that could be important. Again, it could also just be because we're in the mountaintops, and so those kinds of flowers are designed to survive there. I'm trying to think of the possibility of Godefroy taking part in the battle for the giants. And so him having like an active influence in Godfrey accepting that leg from O'Neill. Or is it Neal? Yeah, I think it's Neal, right? Because O'Neill means like son of Neal. So like, yeah, okay. Ooh. I'm thinking, chat. Now, let's keep going. I can't believe I've become the flower guy. It's okay, Xavier. I didn't think I would become the lore guy. You think 5, 6 years ago, whenever I started this, I would still be here? Hell no. Think I'd be selling a book? No way. That came only a few months later. Believe me, I was not thinking I'd still be doing this. This has become such a big part of my life. It's kind of weird where life will take you. Let's think now. We also got the Misbegotten stuff covered, which is really cool. So we have the idea that banished knights at Fortified Manor, some of them in their desperation to escape, to beat Godfrey, turn to the Crucible to answer their problems, answer their prayers. And so, yeah, there we go. And so they touch the Crucible, quote unquote. Could be like through some magic ritual, could be literal. Whatever it was, their attempt to use the power of the Crucible to have it grant them strength ended up backfiring and turning them into the Misbegotten, though I guess you could say it worked in the same way that it worked when Izalith got her Flame of Chaos, right? So, it's like, hey, it's not what you expected, but you got what you wanted, right? You got superpowers and stuff. And then, the Banished Knights, of course, still lose. But there are those who refuse to accept living under the Erdtree rule, so they're banished with the Banished Knights over to the Penal Colony in Limgrave. And that's why we find Misbegotten all the way there in Liurnia and specifically, of course, Weeping Peninsula. Because, again, they were some of those Banished Knights who were banished. And then you have those who agreed to bow their heads to the Erdtree, and because they have a holy visual sign from the Crucible or whatever, they are respected and tolerated using their own, keeping their own pagan practices, hence why we see the pagan-style burials, Erdtree burials at those graves. Similar to what we see, of course, with Liurnia, right? When Renala and Radigan marry, Liurnia is allowed to have its own... It has Erdtree burials, but it's allowed to do it in a sort of more pagan fashion. Hence, we see flat-topped graves at the Academy. No, let's go a little bit more before we do this. Hence why we see flat-topped graves at the Academy. I don't even know that much about flowers. I've just got somewhat decent pattern recognition. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm that much good of an analyzer, to be honest. I know some people are aghast at me saying that, but I really don't think I'm that good. I'm just kind of anal about data. Oh. I just really think I have a solid methodology. I'm really not the type of person I would consider myself the scholarly type. And I'm certainly not very smart. I think watching these streams long enough would tell all of you that. Xavier the botanist. John here is just sitting back enjoying it. He's like, yes, I've slowly watched as he's been corrupted to the dark side of the Elden Ring lore. Good, Loki. Now... play the game, and then you shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Come on. Die faster, thank you. Yep. I just think learning is fun. Yep, it's always good to have an inquisitive mind. Always learn. Never be satisfied with the knowledge you're at. Okay, we'll do 2 more runs so I can get that 1,000,000 mark, and then we'll do it. I can't. I want to get my. I see all these echoes, chat, and my instinct is please spend them before I die and lose them. But I'm like, no, I'm safe. You're safe, Loki. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, watching lore is fun. Yeah, for you, you just get to sit and listen to me ramble. And if I say anything actually somewhat coherent, you're like, ooh, I can steal that. There we go. I did figure out which Dark Souls analysis I'm going to focus on. Like, part of me wants to keep on going with Ariandel because it's so complete. But I'm really struggling, chat. I'm getting to the parts of Ariandel that I don't have as much passion for. And this is the part where I'm like, I have to force my way through. I don't want to. So that's the downside. Woo! I could steal that while actually stealing. Alright, we're getting through there. There we go. Alright, chat. This is gonna be like, what, 9 level ups? 8 level ups, maybe? Oh, wow, that's a lot more than I thought. 80? 13? Nice. Alright, we had 85, chat. Let's test our damage now. What would be a good way to test this? Let's do Chapel. Hey, at least the Millwood part is done. Yeah, at least I got Millwood done. That was very important. This is cheating, Loki. Have some shame. It is not cheating. It's just condensed farming. I'm just speeding up the process for your amusement. How? I don't think I killed that guy in one shot last time, so that's good. I also don't know if that was chip damage or actual full damage for that dog. Oh, it's done. Oh. We also still need to go for physical damage stuff on. I actually wonder if I have better gems now for this weapon. No, she still doesn't die. Well, you die in one shot now. That's good. You both die. So charge attacks. Charge attacks are still really good. Who would have thunk? Yeah, so even an uncharged charge attack. Pretty good. My amusement is fair and square. Listen, this is my second playthrough. I've already beaten this game fair and square. No one can take that from me. Now we're just doing a little accelerated leveling. If this game was on PC, I might have used a certain cheat engine in order to hyper accelerate my leveling. You know, as you do. You don't want me in the first area farming for 300 years to get to max level, do you? Give me more levels. There are 15 more levels to go. Okay, so now we know if you get a million blood echoes, get 13 levels. So we're gonna go for 2 million now. Alright. Since we're going to be here for a little while, I would actually love to see that. No! No, you monster! Next up is going to be... Yeah, gotta resist. Resist. Wait, Loki. It'll feel even better once you're done. So next up is going to be... Rykard. Because I'm trying to think through Rykard's life story now. We know he has a deep connection to sorcery from how he reinvents old conjuries from the snake people into sorceries. We also know he has a mama complex. Because he finds a random quote-unquote foreign dancer, so someone from a foreign country. He sees her and he takes her in. Now this is a bit odd, because he's someone of very high status. And yet he takes a lowly commoner that he finds and decides to take her as her consort. As his consort. Okay. A little odd, but cool. Why exactly did he just love her that much? Well, he doesn't seem to, from everything we can tell. He doesn't seem to be particularly attached to Tanith. None of his motivations in life seem to revolve around Tanith. So that's kind of a little weird. Okay, so then, what did he like about her? Well, as we can see, if you look under her mask, she has black hair, done in a style that matches what we see in Raya's pendant locket, right? So, okay, we can pretty be sure. Okay, that's Tanith. Gotcha. Makes sense. Because Raya thinks that Tanith's her actual mom, even though she's not. It's like, okay, fair enough. There we go. Well, the mask happens to be modeled on a quote-unquote foreign queen. So again, a queen of a foreign country. Now here's the question you have to ask yourself. What are these foreign countries that Tanith and this queen is part of? And why is it that that Tanith has to wear a mask for this queen? I mean, if Rykard went so far as to marry her, marry a lowly dancer, surely he would be just so infatuated with the dancer, he wouldn't want her to look like anyone else. He would just love her as her. But again, this goes back to the point of we don't really see anything regarding Rykard that really ties into his relationship with Tanith. Tanith's almost an afterthought. So why did he do something so bizarre? Well, maybe because he's attached to this queen. And he saw this queen in Tanith, and he's like, oh, there's some resemblance there too. And you know, you could have a little more if we take that mask and we looked at it, but it's fine. Okay, so we have to now think. Who are queens in this setting who would be from quote-unquote foreign countries by some relative standard and would resemble the mask that we see? Well, the mask is known for its round face, thin nose, and small mouth. You know who also has those features almost exactly? Renala. So we have Renala, the queen of Liurnia, a foreign country, which was, of course, incorporated into Marika's Erdtree Empire. So you have a foreign country, much like Aokit. Aokit! God, frickin' Aokit Makarkit! I don't know how you Irish pronounce that, but good on you. Good on you, man. Anyway, as we were. So, yeah, again, this idea of a foreign country that is incorporated into the Erdtree Empire. We know Rykard has a connection to this country and would meet people from this country, such as the Queen, his mom, and, of course, a dancer like Renala, who could, of course, just been some foreign dancer coming through, performing for the royalty of Liurnia at any point, right? All that. So any of that is true. We also know that Rykard seems to be the eldest son. At least we don't know of any other sons besides him and Radon. Radon seems to be the younger of the two. Obviously, you just look at Rykard visibly, and he just visually looks far older than Radon is. And we know Radon is relatively young by the time Godfrey and during Radigan's era when he becomes Elden Lord and stuff like that. So everything's sort of pointing to, okay, Rykard is the eldest son, if not the eldest child, period. Because again, we don't know where Ronnie's two sisters, older sisters, fall into the family tree yet. But with all of that in mind, there we go. Essentially, we have the idea that Rykard has a bit of a mother complex. What? Wait, he actually has a mom complex? That's exactly my point, He has a queen complex. Have you killed Logarius yet? I don't think I have yet, but that's going to be a great test, Xavier. We kill Logarius after getting 99 strength. See how that how the damage is now. But yeah, so So Rykard seems to have a mother complex, which explains again his attachment to sorcery, while also, very strangely, being incredibly devoted inquisitor for the Golden Order. As we know, he had a golden sword that he wielded, and of course we see it, of course, during his boss fight, he still uses it. That golden sword is used as an inquisitor for the Golden Order, getting rid of its enemies and things like that, on behalf of, like, Radigan during, of course, his reign and all that. So Rykard's going to Volcano Manor, essentially becoming in charge of the prison and punishment facilities there. Okay, right? So all that makes sense. Well, why then does this man, once he gets the first chance to viable chance at going against the Golden Order and becoming potentially Elden Lord and all that stuff for himself, obviously we know that that plan basically gets given up when he, feeds himself to the serpent and starts dreaming of, he sees the serpent's dream of, like, devouring the world and all that, and he's like, we shall devour the gods! Right. But, like, why exactly, if he's so fervently, doggedly devoted to protecting the Golden Order, does he suddenly go the complete opposite direction? Because he doesn't actually care for the Golden Order, but he cares about becoming much more like Radigan, who does care about the Golden Order and preserves it and is, sort of an exemplar for the Golden Order. Why? Well, as we see, if he has a certain unhealthy obsession with his mother, the obvious answer would be because, well, he's trying to be more like the guy that mommy likes, which is Daddy. Which also gives the whole Sigmund Freud daddy envy that Rykard has, which ties into this whole getting involved with Ronnie for the conspiracy, because the only person who possibly has a bigger chip on their shoulder over how Daddy left Mommy, more than Ronnie, may be Rykard. Again, in light of his mother complex. And again, that sort of explains a whole lot of things about him. So yeah. 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 So Ronnie's Empyrean just insists too. I want to get a look at his second phase wings, is why I asked. So, wait, who are we talking about, Xavier? Have you killed... Oh, you want to look at his wings. Gotcha. For Logarius. We can take a look at them if we can. If I do, like, really good with the damage and stuff, sure, I can, like, back off and try to see if we can get a good look at his wings, quote-unquote. Man, the road to 2 million. It's long and rugged. Oh, boy. Stay hydrated, chat. Oh. Yes, that's another thing that this week has highlighted to me. Is I'm like, oh... And I completely understand why Miyazaki just says foreign queen, because if he said it outright, let's be honest. That's one of those things that the censors might have issue with. They might just be like, we don't feel good about having that explicitly in our game. Just saying. And let's be honest, once again, it's a Martin thing. Is anyone surprised? If... Is anyone honestly surprised? So that was good. So we got Misbegotten, we got Godric and Godefroy, we got Rykard. We got lots of stuff with just flowers in general, like the connection between Stormhill, Farm Azula, and what's the name of the place? Dragon Barrow. which of course makes sense because all these areas are connected. Dragon Barrow, of course, was once, just an extension of Farm Azula. And Storm Hill is the homeland of the, or at least, yeah, essentially the native land of the Stormhawks, who have a deep connection with Farm Azula and quite likely are from there because, again, much like other races, the Stormhawks probably are close relatives of the dragons. And we do see dragons have, especially flying dragons, have feathers, so not surprising. Not surprising at all. Bestial Sanctum as well. I'm lumping that in with Dragon Barrow in general, Xavier, just to simplify it. But yes, Bestial Sanctum especially. So that was very good. It reinforces that connection that's already implicit there with Farm Azula and the Stormhawks there. There's still one oddity, which, as I said, there's that one, and I don't know if there's more than one. I've only noticed the one when we were doing the run through at Seoul, but there's that one Stormhawk with blades on his feet, like at Stormvale, which is very weird, because the Stormvale thing seems to be a Godric thing done recently, when he's doing the whole, when he's obsessed with grafting. So it's a bit weird to see it in Seoul, but it looks like Seoul had this very desperate siege with someone or something that got them all killed. So I'm not too surprised. The problem is I don't know who they're warring with. That's making them, putting them to the brink like this. Now, obviously, one thought would be, oh, it's those who live in death. But do those who live in death organize in such a way like that? Would that really be a thing? I mean, it could be. Again, it would totally explain the roots and stuff if they're fighting them off at the graveyard, because they're also worried about the soulless demigod. Again, I'm not saying that I don't think it's possible. I think it's there. It's just is there no one else that we can peg in the Forbidden Lands at that time? I think the answer is no, quite honestly. Because astrologers are basically wiped out. Guardians, why would they care? Hailing Tree people, why would they care? They're supposed to be on the side of Seoul, right? People at Hailing Tree are working together to try to create all this, so that doesn't make sense either. So yeah, I don't know. So that one we got very far, but not far enough. There's the catacombs seemingly made for those who die on their way to the Hailing Tree. There's also the question that Xavier raised about the worm face that we encounter, the fake worm face, I think it is, right? Because it's a silver tier or whatever, right? At what it's called, at Gelmir. It's possible that the worm face is just a copy of the ones at the plateau, right? Because that route goes through there to get to the volcano, so it's quite possible that the silver tier is just familiar with those worm faces from that. But again, it's worth getting involved and seeing how that might relate to the minor Erdtree. I'll be honest, I think the minor Erdtree in Gelmir is destroyed because 1, lava, and 2, Rykard. I think it's just a matter of Rykard's forces and stuff. They're like, we're gonna destroy the Erdtree. I think that's what it is. I don't think there's any, deep conspiracy or anything there. We also still need to try to make sure there's no more Stormhawk feathers out in the world or open world or a dungeon or anything, anywhere. That we've actually found every single Stormhawk feather. And I'm no longer going to get blindsided, because now I have to, now I'm going to have to factor in the Stormhawk feathers in Dominula. Dominula is also a bit weird, because Dominula seems like it's part of the Erdtree capital, right? Because, you see the women wearing, at least the women who aren't the young maidens, right? The ones in blue. They wear green with Erdtree cross symbols on them, symbology on it. So all that would indicate, okay, The Erdtree Kingdom. The Erdtree Kingdom incorporated Dominula into here, but they're allowed to continue practicing their pagan ways, their old pagan ways, which makes me think, did they ever stop? Because there's been a lot of talk, people have been saying, like, how they've reverted or stuff like that, and I'm not so sure. I'm wondering if that's just how these women have been doing things forever, that they've always kind of, you know, eaten the men. The only question I have is, who do the skulls of those they eat belong to? Because they make a point that they're too big to be human. So it's like, are they trolls? Have trolls been historically offered up to these women? Which, let's be honest, that's pretty dark. Considering how these trolls have seemingly been reduced to basically slaves. And you essentially have Radigan and people being like, okay, yeah, we'll just feed you to these women to help satiate their, appetites. Because otherwise you have to make an argument that they've been doing that to giants naturally, which again, I don't see that happening when the giants and the Banished Knights have such a close relationship, and the Banished Knights were at one point overseeing Dominula. I just don't see that being a thing. We also have that weird example, though, of the Rykard people resorting to cannibalism. So, like, what's going on there? Is it, like, a one-off thing? Is it just thematic? Like, oh, we're foreshadowing how the whole cannibalism thing with Rykard is a thing, so we'll show this here? Or is there some larger connection there? Some larger reason why that's happening? I don't know. The skulls have what look like gray hair sticking out of them. Ooh. Like what we see with the trolls? With, like, their kind of, like, root hairs? I know one person thought maybe demigods, but demigods we see generally seem to vary in size. I don't think they're big enough to be that. Also, technically all the demigods and stuff that we know of are, like, human, you know, like, at their core. Like, Godfrey, human. America's Newman. Which I guess you could say Newman is a type of human, as we've learned. Arguably the original human, you could even say. The progenitor human. And then, yeah, so I don't buy the idea that, oh, there's this significant thing because they're gods or demigods or whatever, they're bigger. We see so many who don't necessarily follow that trend. No normal heroes, at least that's what I think. I'll have to look at it closely then on our next stream then and see if we can investigate alternative possibilities. So, did the snake that ate Rykard die, or is it still alive? Apparently, it's immortal. So, it's not truly dead, probably. As we can see, it can be reduced to a corpse. And we see, Tanith eating from that corpse. So, if I had to guess, I think the snake was killed back during the Godskin hunts, right? So Godfrey deals with the snake. Malekith deals with the Glowmite Queen. Godfrey kills the snake, seemingly using the snake hunter sword or whatever, right? So he hunts the snake. He kills the snake. The snake's fingers are then cut off and taken by Marika, either after this event or later on, but they keep the corpse somewhere, it seems, at Gelmir. And Marika uses that for her studies, which produced the Finger Creepers. Obviously, Radigan also received some, so he could do his own studies into the fingers over at Eternia, and that's when we get Finger Creepers, right? And something similar was done with the fingers of the giants on the mountaintops, hence why we get the Finger Creepers without the rings. Now, this is the weird detail. One, the snake, which has hands, which is fine by itself, wears rings. That's a bit odd by itself. Because we see the snake wear the rings as part of Rykard's thing, but you can always argue, oh, that's part of, like, you know, Rykard's shtick, right? When he got eaten or something, right? But no, we're supposed to believe this is from the actual snake that was used to make the big ol' stuff. So does the snake naturally have arms, or did it naturally have arms? Or did it eat someone else who had those arms? If so, who did it eat? Those are questions that need to be answered. But the snake is apparently immortal. Because it still has that energy even in its severed fingers that helps it quote-unquote heal and regenerate HP and things like that. So it's not fully dead. Why did their weapons gain runes? Also, if I recall correctly, all their weapons gain the same amount of runes, except the hammer, which gains more than the rest. But I'll have to double check that. Yeah, I don't know that detail either. I'm not sure, because that involves understanding what runes are. But assuming that runes are essentially like the code to the soul or whatever, then it's possible it takes runes because the bones, which they have them, are natural draws for runes. That's the only thing I could think of. May the good blood guide your way, huh? How come the snake doesn't have hands in the picture of it eating Rykard? That's again a good question. That goes back to my point. Does it have hands naturally, or did it only gain those hands from eating someone like with Rykard? Because I think it looks I have to double check Zuli's video, but I think Zuli had it where the arms and legs were shown to be coming from out of the snake from Rykard, right? It could also be that the snake has to reach a certain size before it develops those limbs of its own. It can't regenerate, right? That part we don't know, because there is signs that it can recover and heal. So it's possible it is capable of regenerating. I think we see it kind of still flailing and stuff with Rykard's, just as Rykard's head while Tannis eating it, right? So again, there's a lot of details that still aren't completely known. Because I haven't done the deep dive with Rykard, and I haven't given it too much attention. I kind of started today going through possibilities with, how the serpent men were going for, but I think I hit a dead end because I missed an item description that I think I really should have factored into my analysis. So like, yeah, I still need to collect all the data. God, just Elden Ring. It's just, there's so much data compared to other Souls games. It's just ridiculous. Bloodborne, fine. Dark Souls 3, fine. Dark Souls 1, fine. Dark Souls 2, you know, honestly, when I actually gave it a good try, was actually pretty fine. But Elden Ring, it's like, okay, I'm doing fine, but there's so much more. There's just so many factors, so many possibilities, so much overlap between areas, like, absolutely crazy. The snake corpse is still alive, yeah, so I think it can slowly heal. We know for sure it's immortal enough that it was alive to some extent when Rykard finds it. And we can see from the battle arena that snake has shed its skin many, many, many times in order to become the size and nature that it is now, so. Almost there, chat. One more. Welcome to Lore Hell. Exactly, Xavier. It's Lore Hell. Day 1 million of waiting for that DLC, yeah. The good thing about the DLC is hopefully it will have a lot of the implications made explicit. So that way, and we'll probably be like, oh, look, that was so obvious looking in retrospect, looking at all that stuff, da-da-da-da-da, right? But because there was just so much data to collect, it would take us forever to get to that point where we would make that connection. So just having a DLC, which will, like, say it outright, most likely, is going to make things a lot simpler. The only problem is, all that explicit stuff may be limited to just, Mikla. And stuff related to Mikla, like, say, the Angels, or, the Mausoleums, or, Torrent, or the, Spirit Caller Bell, or, you know, stuff of that nature. Dark Souls 2 lore is fine. Finally said. No, no, don't misinterpret me. I'm talking strictly about actually understanding and following it. And keep in mind, I was just talking specifically about Scholar. If we were talking about the original game, then hell no. We did it. We did it, chat. So what's the final number? 497 from 486. So we added a little 11 damage. Yeah, I guess this is now the priority. Alright, let's quickly do Logarius and see how this goes. But first let's try to, because we're so close to level up, so let's just do like one more of this just for one more level up in our stamina. This is why I don't try with the big stuff. I just look at the little details that nobody cares about. Very smart of you, Xavier. Because then you'll have all that data ready, so once we know like some of the big stuff that gets explicitly talked about, we can start going back to all the little stuff now that we'll have a complete data set. If there's only one DLC. No, don't say that, Baltoy. Please. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Elden Ring gets milked in a way where it keeps getting new DLCs that add on to the story and world and characters or things. Like, it'll be like, hey, we're unlocking new underground sections of the Lands Between. I could totally see that. So they did a lot of retcons in Scholar. Oh yeah, totally. The creator, the director admits this when in the DesignWorks interview when talking about like the DLC with Shulva and stuff. We know the original plan was for Nishandra to be the first shard of man, the first like child of Manus, quote unquote, the first apostle or whatever, to have become active. And then the idea with the DLC was that each DLC would crop up because a new sister would start moving about and causing problems in Drangleic, right? And you would then be there to fix the problems the sister would cause. Right? That was the original plan. When they were before, when launch date came and we could look in the files and stuff and read the item descriptions from the base game and all that, right? Like, that was something that the game made abundantly clear. But as the direct, and how that would affect lore is stuff like, say, Shulva. Shulva, as is a very ancient city, which is relatively clean, or was relatively, it is relatively clean of an area, because of Sin, who is absorbing all the poisons and stuff, despite the land of Shulva sitting at the lowest elevation, and so thematically and naturally by Dark Souls logic, it should be the most filthiest, terrible places of all, right? That was what the director originally planned for Shulva. It was going to be this relatively recent thing. Sin was this person who added all this poison and awful stuff. That's where Mytha got her poison or whatever, because of Sin and the dragons and all that, right? Like, all that was already baked into the cake. The problem was, the director basically decided he wasn't interested in that. He wanted Shulva to be this really ancient place, right? And that switches around so much of the lore, right? Because again, keep in mind, in the final game, the Lindelt Monastery and all that stuff all revolves around Shulva and Shulva lore being an ancient city or whatever. So this idea of it being this new, this quote-unquote, like, sort of new country or kingdom or whatever wasn't in the cards. But yeah, so, like, lots of stuff changed with the director, because he had different ideas with how he wanted to go with the DLC. And that ended up meaning they had to retcon a bunch of stuff that was already sort of set up in the lore for other things. And it still works, right? The idea that Shulva is super ancient, and the poison that Mytha gets is a result of Sin releasing poison, and therefore it must have entered the cavern, the roofs of the caverns, much like everywhere else, and seeped up to above ground. That is still perfectly viable. We just know that wasn't the original plan of how that was all supposed to play out. And knowing how it was supposed to play out, we can easily see how some of that lore was supposed to connect and things like that. So yeah, Dark Souls 2 has had plenty of retcons. They were retconning things in the middle, like obviously of Sur Alon, and all of that got retconned. Like it's just one of those things where we kind of just have to accept that that DS2 devs literally had no idea what they were doing. And they kind of started figuring out what they were doing by the time they got to Scholar. Because they kept on, like, changing and retconning things mid-DLC. And they just need to do something to fix it all. I could have swore it was here, chat. Is it here instead? Oh, yeah, so it is. If they combine 2 DLCs and we have 2 missing Great Runes, we should have Ronnie's stuff as well, right? Yeah, there could be Ronnie's stuff in there. We still don't know what happened to Ronnie's Great Rune. The DLC could answer that question. We could end up getting both Mikola and Ronnie's Great Runes in the DLC. There's also signs that Ronnie is in contact with Mikola to some extent because of the... Wouldn't it be funny if Mikola was involved in the conspiracy? It's like everyone was a conspirator except Melania. Yeah, wait. It would be Melania, Morgott, and who else in the Alliance? Radon. Those were the only 3 people who were not in on the conspiracy. And Melania is kind of a weird example because she technically is like just there to support her brother, so she's kind of like a conspirator by proxy. So it's really just Radon and Morgott. And Radon's just manipulated by Rykard into taking part probably. And Morgott obviously is the only... Morgott's the only one that's actually trying to, like, you know, keep things together. Poor Morgott. Yeah, just really funny how that all works out. At least they make the lore make sense. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I am. When it all came together, the game ultimately became relatively straightforward. No problems there. God, you are still tanky. Oh, you're not dead even. I love seeing all that architecture disappear when I'm up here. Yeah, there's no problem with... Yeah, again, ideally, should your game not retcon stuff? Sure. Or at the very least, in the case of Dark Souls, it should be retconned in a way that you could have plausible deniability on whether or not it was always the original plan, right? I can make that argument for Ornstein leaving to meet the Firstborn. I can, there's plausible deniability there that was always the idea from Dark Souls 1. Just because there's enough weird stuff going on with Ornstein in Dark Souls 1 that Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 are really the only ways that all that stuff really makes sense. In retrospect. Yeah, it's still a problem. Yeah, it's still a problem. Ow. There we go. Damn it. Yeah, this is a disaster. Oh my god. Oh my god, and you keep dodging! There we go! Oh, of course you have iframes for that. That's so dumb. Ow. Keep falling for that. Oh my god, you did the jump! I hate this. Oh, okay, you just don't have iframes during that. Okay, gotcha. That's gonna hit me. I need to stop holding it down when I see that. He's already done that. Oh my god. There we go. Oh my god, but he doesn't flinch! You are a scrawny-ass old man that's been frozen for God knows how long. How the hell? Oh, I could have done it. I gotta remember, he takes a really long time to get to phase 2. Cool. Alright, let's take a look at his quote-unquote wings. It kind of looks like he just powers up with the curse, right? Like, they look like they're, it looks kind of like there's that yellow light wispy winds thing, but then there's, like, black fog mixed amongst it. So, yeah, it looks like he just powers up with the curse, which makes sense given the... Oh, my... Oh. 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 There we go. I don't care as long as I get the hit in. But yeah, neat. Woo! Didn't really feel that impact there, but at least it went through. Oh. Ah, darn, too early. If I could get the second one in. Nice. Man, I like it when you don't dodge. Ah, darn. Spoke too soon, huh? Ah, that was too early. Ah, that was too early, too. I'm really off with my timings. I remember when Lugarius was, like, really simple with Lugarius. Wait, did the sword break itself? That's kind of weird. Ah, darn. I didn't want to do that second one. Oh, I didn't want to do that either. Yeah, too early. Damn, I didn't want to do that second dodge! I was hoping he would charge in, but no, he waited. Damn. Dang, I gotcha. Alright, I can just poke you, right? Yeah, we survived that. Alright, prey slaughtered. The damage is still not crazy, but it's something. Mikola is a conspirator, confirmed. Would be so funny if it's true. Mikola wanted Godwin to have a proper death, aka killed. Oh, so that's why Mikola's so obsessed with the soulless demigods, because he wanted Godwin dead too, and he's like, brother, why won't you have your proper death? Him and Godefroy were just, they were in the we want Godwin dead camp, and then Ronnie and Rykard were in the we just want Radigan to suffer camp. He bunked you, Loki, what a shame, yeah. There's also Mikola and Lilies near Caria Manor. Yeah, but that could tie into the idea that Mikola... Again, Mikola and Trina lilies we can find basically anywhere, but if we are talking about, like, oh, there's a large concentration of them at the manor, that could be explained by Mikola staying at the manor while attending Rhea Lucaria. Very possible.
Welcome home, good hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do this. So I don't know about you, chat. I'm feeling pretty happy with how our farming session went. We now have 99 strength. The only question is this the weapon we want to use? Or are there better ones we could grab? What do we currently have in terms of options to level? We need quite a few to make this worthwhile, but let's see what the damage is like. Because what does it say scaling is? It says the scaling's really bad on D. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think the weapon is losing its oomph for me. Let's see if we can get any better gems on this, because this was without gems. Repair. Alright. Oh. Eh. Physical attack up, but attack down. I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it, chat. Because currently we have 289. So it is +1, basically. Yeah, it seems to just not... I mean, it's +1, but, like... I guess it's something. Seems like everything else, though, is better. I guess we have to look at dungeons and see what dungeons we should start going for, now that we're not strictly limited by levels. Though maybe I do want to do another farming run to get my endurance up. Mikola with a giant stone head is a funny image. He earned his place at the academy. I forgot that Godwin is actually a character, even though he's very important. Well, let's be honest. He gets called the Death Prince and stuff, like, throughout so much of the game. And he's basically more of a plot device, for all intents and purposes, for the rest of it. So yeah, I don't blame you for forgetting. I'm not surprised. Okay, so let's see. What other weapons do I want to try out then besides this? Boom hammer. Let's start leveling this up and start getting a feel for its damage. Went to B, which is always a good sign. We need those chunks still. Okay, let's test this. Yeah, okay, good. Let's test it against a basic hunter, shall we? So basic hunter here, I think we can one-shot with our hammer. So let's see what boom hammer can do. I mean, boom hammer does give us more options because we can go into fire damage because it very easily activates itself on fire. The problem question is, are there enough enemies weak to fire to warrant this? Not looking good. Damn. Not looking good. Its hitbox is a bit thin. Oh my god. That's a tight dodge window. I don't know, chat. I don't know, chat. I'm not sure if I'm feeling it. Like, don't get me wrong. It's good. It's good, I'm sure, as a standalone weapon. But then you got this, where it's like, big damage. That's really hard to beat. That's really hard to beat in terms of fun factor for me in a strength build. How to get shot while bonking a hunter. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think, what other strength weapons does this game have? Whirligig, but that requires some dex. Yeah, it might be that I just need to start investing in dex to open up my options. I mean, this is technically strength. Maybe this could be the weapon. Let me try this. The guy by Loki getting shot while bonking feels great. Always remember, chat, when you get bonked, you might get shot. And this is why guns exist. Come to America. Can I add one more thing so I can get one more blue elixir? But I can. Alright. Damage is going up. So let's compare. 153, 136. Ah, it looks even lower. Yeah, this is 210. Now, granted, these don't have gems in them. Let's try putting gems. Maybe that's the problem. I don't want to remove my stuff from my hurricane. So let's get a feel of this weapon in general and see if I want to keep on pursuing. Nope. Yeah, let's go back to Charger's Nightmare. Let's test this shit. Radagon bonking is good, I heard. If only I was Radigan. There is bonk potential here. Nice. There is much bonk potential here that I'm very much enjoying with this one. I can... What if I do this? Range needs to be a little further for these guys, huh? Not too far, apparently, because I have to be basically within their range. Okay. I see potential here. Chat, I see potential with this weapon. I think this weapon can go the distance. That's some nice. Okay, how fast can I make that go? Okay, no, it's basically the same no matter what. That just slammed it down a second time. Nice. I don't know, Chad, I'm seeing it. Oh. I could see this weapon having bonk potential if we keep on putting chunks into it. So I think next time we might go back to hunting for more chunks. So that way we can stuff them all on here. Yeah. That might be it. And we put some good gems on there. Get some good strength gems to just increase the raw power. Now, it doesn't have as big of a hitbox as the... Oh, oopsie. It doesn't have as big of a hitbox as the Kirk hammer. But the Kirk hammer would just do chip damage, so it's not like the Kirk hammer... Like, the Kirk hammer would basically be like, okay, you don't do enough damage to kill the thing anyway. I'd much prefer if you would just miss. So that way I can do another full bonk that actually, you know, kills them in one shot. So again, I can see potential in this. So did you release the Hunter's Nightmare Thesis? Gotta read that. Yes, that did happen. I did in fact do that, You can read that on the website. That was released this morning. Almost, yeah, almost 16 hours ago now. I am very proud of it, so I would highly recommend you read it. But, you know, I'm biased. Don't you know? Yeah, I think that's it, chat. I can't think of anything else where it's like, okay, I really want to do this. I think we could just head off now. We can end this farming stream. Alrighty. Let's get our blood vials. There we go. Finally giving Luke his reserves. What bias, Loki? I'm intrigued. I don't know. I just have this strange feeling that if it's something written by me, sharing my perspective, that I might be a little biased in saying that it's pretty amazing. But you know, it is pretty darn amazing, so please read it. Okay, guys, that's going to be all for today. Ciao!